PMD Tea Buyers Club. I'm your host, Anand Silva, and today, because of a customer, well, I wouldn't say a customer request, but I was talking to one of our customers on Twitter, and she was talking about what good teas are there for winter. And of course, chai cinnamon is the winter tea I would recommend. It's getting pretty cold here in the UK. I don't know where you guys are watching this from, but it's pretty chilly. There's a thick frost every morning when I wake up. So today I thought I'd do a show, episode 19. It's gone pretty fast. Can you believe it's 19 now? We're at episode 19. Episode 19, I thought we'd do some winter warmers. So the first tea that I've got here is our vanilla tea. It's a pekoe grade of leaf, and if you guys have a look, high-grown pekoe tea mixed in with natural vanilla that's grown in Sri Lanka. There's no flavouring in this tea at all, just high-grown pekoe with vanilla. There's a lot of vanilla extract that's actually been added to this, and if you look into the camera, you'll see that there's small little brown specks. Now, those specks aren't stalk, that's actually the vanilla pieces in there. And if I look at my hand, I've got little small particles of vanilla dust. Now, this is a wonderful tea. As one customer described it, it's a hug in a mug. And it's a wonderful tea to have at this time of year. The cup colour itself, it has that typical high-grown character to it, has the body, and you need quite a robust cup of tea for this to be able to take on the vanilla flavouring. So the actual body is quite thick, and I'm going to give this one a quick taste. Big kick of a vanilla note in there. Now, one thing how I like to have my vanilla tea is, I find that when you have this plain, you don't get the experience that you should be getting. So for that, I think to get the real experience out of this tea, I think you've got to add some milk, and this is just some dairy milk, and I like to add a tiny bit more dairy milk when I'm having this tea, simply because it gives you a much thicker, more appealing cup. And if I just give that a little stir, you can see what, and if I bring that cup back up there, you can see what the cup looks like. It's very appealing, it's very bright. The milk really adds a different texture to this cup. When you taste the tea by itself, the vanilla taste is quite prominent in the mid palate of your mouth. But when you add the milk, you get a much more thicker, silkier, creamier taste that just envelopes all around your palate. So I'm going to give this another taste. That really brings out the tea. It adds so much more dimension to it. The vanilla just tastes a lot more creamy. It's almost like tasting vanilla ice cream that's warm though. And it's very warming, especially at this time of year. One other thing that you guys can do to sort of enhance the enjoyment of your vanilla tea is to add some cinnamon to it. And by add cinnamon, I don't mean to just crush a cinnamon stick and put it into the tea, but to use Ceylon cinnamon, and this is a Ceylon cinnamon quill, and to actually put this in your mug or in your cup and sip it through this straw, and use this cinnamon quill as a straw, and that adds a much more, it adds a completely different dimension to the tea, because you've got a very thick, silky cup, and then you've got this spicy sweet finish from this cinnamon stick. So give that a go, and if you guys do try it out, put it down in your comment section below and let us know how you guys get on with this little trick. The other tea that I find goes really well at this time of year, and one that I personally use when I come back in from walking the dog, and I have got my new puppy. If you guys are following us on Instagram, if you're not, click the link below, it's down at the bottom. Click Instagram, have a look at some of the pictures of this guy. He's a real character. I will reveal the name of the puppy on Thursday's show. In fact, I'm going to feature the pup on Thursday's show, and thank you to everybody who wrote in and gave name suggestions. They're all into our little ballot, and we've already chosen a name, but I'm going to keep it secret. No one knows the puppy's name yet, but follow us on Instagram to check out some of the videos and to see some of the pictures. He's a real character, real character. So here we go. This is the Earl Grey, and this is a tea that I love to have when I come back in the afternoons if I've been walking the dog, or if I come back from walking the dog at night. I just find that the aromatic flavour that you get in this tea opens up your sinuses. Now you'll notice a lot of Earl Greys have blue cornflowers and other shit in it. This is not something that we do at PMD. This is a good quality FBOP leaf. I mean, this could be a straight line standard leaf that we would actually buy and offer. So we buy a very good straight line leaf, and we buy that from a low country estate. And the reason why we buy low country is when you add bergamot oil, and this is the big difference between our Planters Earl Grey and any other Earl Greys that you may have tried. We use, well, let me speak about the leaf and I'll tell you the other difference. So when you use bergamot oil, you need to have a strong, robust leaf that helps balance that citrusy oil. And to do that, you can't use the higher elevation teas. They're too light. You don't get the body in your cup. And to have that kind of strong, robust body, you need to have a low growing leaf. And for that, we use a leaf from the Ratnapura region in Sri Lanka, the city of gems. And then we blend that with actual bergamot oil. Now there's a big difference. You can get bergamot oil, and then you get artificial bergamot flavouring. And a lot of the time what happens with Earl Grey is that you get a black tea, a very poor leaf, and if you have a look at the leaf, it'll be open, it'll be flaky, it'll be brown, it doesn't have a good roll on it, it's a very cheap leaf, and they over-scent it with bergamot oil. Now the big difference with this is that we don't add a lot of bergamot oil, and when we do add bergamot oil, we add a very high quality natural oil as opposed to the artificial flavouring. The big difference will be is that when you taste the tea, it doesn't grip your palate and you don't get that harsh taste on the back of your mouth. Now I'm going to give this tea a quick taste. In fact, let me bring the cup over first and let me wash out my palate. You can see that it's a very bright cup. Very bright, very appealing to the eye. It's not dull at all. And that's exactly how you want any tea to be. That's very nice actually. It's been some time since I've had some Earl Grey. But that Earl Grey, very light on the palate, it's not too strong. So if you're not an Earl Grey lover, if you don't like Earl Grey and you test it, we've converted a lot of customers over who like Earl Grey, and you can buy this either in tea bags or you can buy this in loose. But check it out on the website. Maybe even take a sample packet and try it out and see if it's a tea that you can enjoy for the winter time. One thing that you can also add to it is a bit of milk. I find that when you add a bit of milk, it just gives the tea a bit more of a creamier note. And again, if I bring this one back over, you can see it has a very appealing cup colour. It's very bright. It's not dark. It doesn't have that dull look to it. And this is what happens when you use a good leaf to start with. By using good leaf, you get a very bright looking cup. Whenever you look at a cup of tea, it should look appealing to the eye. And this is what this Earl Grey shows. I'm going to give this another taste. Much more creamier. Much more creamier. That's how I like to have my Earl Grey, with a tiny bit of milk. Check it out, guys, and let me know how you guys like to have your Earl Grey. Do you like it with milk, without milk, maybe a slice of lemon? I find it's a great tea just to open up the sinuses. That little bit of oil helps open up the sinuses that are blocked after you walk in from the cold. Now the final tea that I have is a single estate tea. It's not going to be everyone's taste. I would say it's like the Marmite of tea. You either love it or you hate it, and it's our Ceylon Souchong. Now Souchong teas started to be made in the Wuyi province in China. Now at the time, well, in the Wuyi province you find pine wood trees, and what they use over there to make true traditional lapsang is they dry the leaf over pine wood. Now this gives it you get a very light smoky flavour to a traditional lapsang. What you find with a lot of lapsangs today is that they're made using pine oil. So it's the pine oil that's sprayed over the leaf, which gives it that smoky flavour, and it's not actually smoked in the traditional way. Now this tea builds on the traditional way that the Chinese have made lapsangs for generations. Now, what we do here is this tea is manufactured in the Low Country. It's made on Hunter estate, and what they use is cinnamon wood to smoke their tea. Now, what cinnamon wood does is it adds a spicy, rich finish to the final cup, and this works amazingly well in the afternoon. So if you want to put down your glass of brandy, or you don't want to have port after a meal, this is a wonderful type tea to enjoy, especially after a meal, or if you're just reading a book, or if you're sitting in front of the fire. That's when I tend to have this tea, when if I'm sitting in front of my fireplace and I'm reading a good book. This is my go-to kind of tea. Now, I'm going to show you guys the cup. Again, very bright, very appealing to the eye. I'm really looking forward to tasting this tea, and then now you guys will also realize why I've got a bottle of whiskey. Now that tea, slight smoky note. It's not this overpowering smoky note that sits in the back of your mouth, or that's so pungent that it takes up the entire room. Slight smoky note. It's very easy to sip. It doesn't leave your mouth feeling like you've just had a cigarette or you've had a cigar. Very easy to sip. Very easily, you can swallow it very nicely. Now, one thing that you guys can add to your souchong is a bit of Scotch whiskey. Now, I don't recommend you guys take milk with it. It just leaves a horrible flavor, and I've tried it before. This tea does not work with milk. The smoke in this and the milk, the two flavors aren't something that I like to work with. Instead, I recommend, if you guys can try this, try it out, try using a bit of Scotch whiskey. Now, this is quite a smoky, peaty tea, so I would move away from Islay whiskies, so your Laphroaigs, your Lagavulins. Don't look at your Ardbegs. I would look at ideally something like a lowland whiskey. Lowland whiskies are very thin on the palate, they're not as strong, they're very light, and that kind of whiskey works exceptionally well. I don't have any lowland whiskies because I'm not a big fan of them, but the other thing that I find that works quite well is a good Speyside. Now, this is a Balvenie double wood. It's from Balvenie Distillery in Dufftown in Speyside in Scotland. It's been distilled through 2 barrels. It's which one's this? This is the second cask is a sherry, and the first one is your traditional whiskey cask. Now, this malt adds a different dimension, and I'm going to add a little teaspoon of whiskey to this. Not a lot. You can add a tiny teaspoon if you want. You can add more depending on how much you want, but adding a little teaspoon of whiskey to your tea creates a wonderful little hot toddy. And this you can actually even have maybe as a nightcap. So the cinnamon smoke that you get in this tea with a little bit of that sherry work exceptionally well, and it's a very, very nice tea just to end your evening with. So guys, check out these 3 winter warmers. Let me know which ones you guys end up choosing. Try out a bit of whiskey, maybe a bit of cinnamon, or maybe even a bit of milk in your tea, and let me know which one of these teas you guys like to taste. As ever, guys, keep watching the PMD Tea Buyers Club. Tune into Thursday's show, because we will have the puppy on the show, and you can get to find out who has won the name of this pup. What's its name going to be? I'm looking forward to having him on the show, and I've got a nice tea to feature in with the pup. And if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. We've got a lot of pictures of the puppy on there, and also a few videos, I think, as well. We've got some video dropping as well. As ever, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on Thursday's episode of the PMD Tea Buyers Club.